That's what I
It's a
was.
simpler version of it.
Yes, we've been working with the simpler version, we're making it more complicated now.
Well,
We've been working with it, we've been working with everything centered around 0, 0, around the origin. Now it's not, because we can graph stuff that's not got an origin of 0, 0, yes?
Mhm.
Okay, so the H and K just shifts my center of that circle.
Do the easy way out.
Now, parabola, remember there are two equations for parabolas. There is y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h, which originally it would have been y equals 4px, yes?
Yeah.
And then there's x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k, which originally would have been x squared equals 4py. Okay? Once again, the h and k shift what's happening. Okay? Ellipses are usually x squared over a squared plus plus y squared over b squared equals 1, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, h and k once again are shifting, we're shifting it. Okay, left, right, up, down. Or the equation for a vertical one was x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared equals 1. Okay, once again, h and k shift. Hyperbola, you have a minus sign. And originally it is x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. H and k are shifting. Or it was y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. H and k simply shifted. Now, here's the trick. You have to be able to identify which thing you're graphing by the equations, what form they're in.
Yeah, that's not-
Here's how you know. Circle has an x and y squared. It's the only thing where both of them are squared. Okay, with no fractions, it's just a straight equation. X plus y, x squared plus y squared. Parabolas should be easy because only one thing is squared. Either the x is squared or the y is squared, but not both. An ellipse has a plus sign with a fraction. Hyperbola has a minus sign with a fraction.
Oh.
Okay? So now we're going to graph this. What type of graph should we get if it says x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 9?
Use a circle.
Circle, good. So this is a circle. If we can identify that, we're doing well. Now, what is my center of my circle?
Wait, no,
Two.
Two.
Nick, yeah, 2, 3.
2, 3, right? 2, 3? Because x changes, y stays the same, correct? So I'm going to start by graphing 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3. Boom. Now, what is my radius?
3.
My radius is 3, because you take the square root of 9 plus or minus 3, right?
So it would be 3, 0.
So from here I go 1, 2, 3 out, okay? From here I go up 3, 1, 2, 3. From here I go 3 out, 1, 2, 3. And from here I go 3 down, 1, 2, 3. You connect those, remember on graph paper it looks perfect like a circle. You connect those and you have your circle.
That's not bad on the board.
It's not horrible, a little long over here. But that's how we're graphing a circle, okay? You identify your center and then you identify your radius. Circles should be the easiest. Okay? Questions on that?
You know what? That would be a nice day. But that's not gonna happen. If they were all circles, then I would actually go home and be happy.
You have any questions on that? Let's, what, Drew, you got a question?
No, it's just it's a lot to write.
Okay. I'll give you a minute. The next one, okay, says graph, and it says y minus 3 squared over 4 minus x plus 1 squared over 9 equals 1. What type of graph are we creating there?
Hyperbola.
Hyperbola. Hyperbola, because it has a minus with a fraction, so hyperbola. Okay, so to to graph a hyperbola, we gotta think through some things, okay? First, we've gotta decide what is our A, our B, our C, that type of stuff, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start there. What is your A?
4, well,
Plus or minus
Two.
2. What is my B?
plus or minus 3.
Okay, now, what does this negative 3 and 1 transfer to? Like,
percent.
sort of, we're gonna talk about that. It kind of, let's get there. So my H and K should be 3, 1, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so,
we would just shift.
Oh.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So that, I know that I'm shifting by 3, 1.
Wait, is this gonna be a graph where it has like two?
Oh wait, I lied, it's not 3, 1, wait a second. We gotta think this is where it gets tricky. It's not 3, 1, what is this width right here?
Oh, it's,
And what is this width right here? Because
so
remember,
it'll be negative 1.
negative 1, 3, yes.
Oh, I
Because
didn't know.
remember,
Okay.
this
H-
is
H
this is the
doesn't
only
work.
one where the X and Y can switch. Okay, so you gotta pay attention to that. So negative 1, 3. So I'm going to start by graphing negative 1, 3. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second. So negative 1, 3. This, remember how on a hyperbola we make that box?
Yeah,
That's the center of my box.
okay.
Instead of it being the origin, my center is now negative 1, 3. Okay? You know that your A is plus or minus 2 from there, yes?
Yeah,
Okay, so because your A is plus or minus 2 from there, and it goes with your Y, you're going up 2 and you're going down 2, that's your A, that's your vertex.
that's why, okay, that's what's
Okay,
kinda tricky.
That's your vertex. Now, you know that B is plus or minus 3, yes? Okay, so you're going to then go to create your box 3 to the left, 3 to the right, okay, because B is with X in this case. So 1, 2, 3, 3, okay? Now, the only thing you're missing is what on this graph?
You don't have your foci,
You don't have your foci. How can I find a foci?
Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem. So you're gonna say, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So you get 15 equals C squared, so C is going to equal
7.
plus or minus what?
Like, I don't know.
7 point something, right?
Yeah,
Oh, no, not 7 point something. That's if I divide by 2. 3.9. Which would make sense because
yeah,
it should be 3.9 away from this center point. Because these were 2 away from that center point. So then I'm gonna come to this center point and go 1, 2, 3.9 away from there. And I'm gonna come to the center and go 1, 2, 3.9 away from there. Does that make
So
sense?
it's just the same thing, but just shifted.
It's the same thing, except for you have to mark that center spot first and everything shifts off of that. Okay? Everything shifts off of that. So then I finish my box out. And I draw my parabolas from there. Okay? So once you figure out what your H and K are, you shift everything off of that. Okay? Everything off that. And you gotta double check up here, is A under Y or is A under X? Because if it's under Y, then I go up and down by that A amount. But if it's under X, I go left and right by that A amount. Okay? Let's look at that graph over there. Okay, it says write an equation of the parabola whose vertex is at negative 2, 3 and whose focus is at negative 4, 3. Okay, parabola. Equations for parabolas are these, yes? Okay, which one is it? Is it vertical or horizontal?
that's horizontal.
It's horizontal. So I should have the y minus k squared equation? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So it should say y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's plug in things. Let's figure out what's x and h.
The-
Or not x and h, I'm sorry. What is h and k? Yes.
H would be
3. Wait, negative.
4, right? Because those are coverses.
Okay, where, stop.
That's a different equation.
Look up,
Oh,
no,
that's a
that,
different thing?
yeah, look
Oh,
up.
it'd be
Sorry.
-3.
Oh, too bad, Jason.
It would be, okay, H and K comes from what on a parabola? What?
Vertex.
The vertex, so what is your vertex?
-3.
-2.
It's
Or no,
negative,
three.
-2, no,
Oh, -2?
yeah, it's -2, 3,
Oh.
Oh, -2.
right, isn't it? Or maybe I drew it wrong there. No, it's -2, 3, -2, 3.
Oh, right here. Okay,
Yep.
that's right.
So my HK over there, my vertex is -2, 3, okay? So if my vertex is -2, 3, I plug those in to the H and K spot, okay? Meaning that I should have y minus 3 squared equals 4px plus 2, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm not done because I still have a p in there, and I still have, an x in there, correct? Well, I should have an x, but I still have a p. I have to figure out what p is, okay? Here's how you figure out what p is, really, really simple. What is the point for your foci?
-4, 3,
Yes. How far away is it from the vertex of -2, 3?
2.
So what's your p?
2.
2. So if I plug 2 into p, I get 2 times 4, which is,
8.
and that's your equation.
Wait, so is there ever gonna be one where it's negative?
Where it's a negative in front? Yes, if it faces down.
Oh.
And actually, you are correct, this one should be negative, but you have to think that through, because what side is that facing? That graph over there, to the left, so if it faces left or if it faces down, this becomes negative. If it faces right or faces up, it stays positive. You have to think that through. Okay? And then, what?
No, I was, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I.
Okay. And then we need to write an equation of an ellipse with foci and covertices. This you have to do some thinking on, okay? You wanna look at what they give you, whether it's a foci, vertice, or covertice, and you wanna see where are the numbers the same, in the x or in the y spot, okay? So on the foci, where are the numbers the same, the x or the y spot? The y spot, okay? So that tells me what equation I'm using. If the foci are the same in the y spot, okay, is your A or your B under y? Remember, this is an ellipsis. Okay, this is an ellipsis. So if your foci are the same in the y spot, is your A or your B under your y? Because if it's an ellipsis, I'm using this equation.
Yeah.
X minus h squared, right, over something.
It would be the second one. Or I guess wouldn't the A be over the Y minus K?
Wouldn't the a be where?
Oh, over the Y minus K?
Under the y minus k?
Yes.
Well, let's think. Do the foci are inside of the, when I graph something, let me think about this. When I graph, oh wait, yeah, this is an ellipsis, that's what changes the A. So when I graph something, I need to know if my x-axis is greater or if my y-axis is greater, correct?
Yeah.
And then this says that the co-vertices are at 4, 0, and 4, 4, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so my a squared would have to be under my x.
Oh, that's.
Under my x. Yes. So then, I have to figure out what is going on from there. Because your foci is your C, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so if my foci is my C, Yeah, this one's a little bit more complicated, we have to think through. And my H and K is the center, correct? Whew, I gotta work this problem out, okay. So first you have to determine the form. The form has the a squared under the x and the b squared under the y. Second, you have to identify your H and K, okay? Because that would be the center, which is halfway between the foci or the covertices. So you have to find the center of your ellipses, your H and K, which means it's the distance between either of these. You'll get the same answer. Nope, you don't have to use the distance formula, you just have to think. If these are both 2, which numbers am I going to find a difference between? The X spot or the Y spot on the foci?
The X spot.
The X spot, correct? Okay,
Mhm.
the X spot. So I've got to figure out my H and my K.
Oh man, this is hard.
Yes, this one's the hardest, that's why I saved it for last. Okay, so to find out my H, I'm going to use these two, and I'm finding out the midpoint. What's the formula to find out a midpoint? You do what plus what?
X1 plus X2.
2 divided by, good, x1, x2, because they're different. See how that works? So 7, right, plus 1 divided by 2. Now to find the K, you do what plus what?
2 plus 2 over 2.
Nope,
Oh,
because 2 plus 2 is the same, so I can't use foci anymore, I have to use,
covers.
yes, because what's different in the covertices? The Y's. So you do 4 plus, or you do, wait a second. Well, either way it works. Yeah, okay, so we do 2 plus 2 over 2. You can use the same number. If I did 4 plus 0 over 2, you would still get the same thing, yes?
Yeah, oh yeah, you
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
Wait,
because
so is it always
would
gonna
be-
be
it would
like
be
that?
2.
So you choose either of these two.
Wait, so
And-
is it always gonna be like that?
Yes. You choose either the foci or the covertice, and you do the midpoint formula, essentially, with them. So 7 plus 1 divided by 2 is what?
4,
And 4 divided by 2 is,
2.
so this is the center of my ellipses.
Okay, so yeah, I wouldn't say this is hard, it's just a lot of complicated steps.
It is a lot of complicated steps. You're right, it's not super hard, it's
It's,
just complicated.
you just have to think.
So then I plug this in to the H and the K. So I get x minus 4 squared, okay, plus y plus 2 squared, right?
Oh, I see what you have to do now.
Now I gotta figure out my a squared and my b squared, okay?
Wait, wouldn't the H be opposite?
No, yes,
She did put opposite.
I did put opposite, because I put
-4.
minus 4.
Oh.
Okay.
Wait, then why is it
So
2
they-
positive?
What are you talking about? Because why she's.
Oh, no, 2 is negative, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Oh,
Thank you, Paul.
Oh, wait, oh, okay, I got it now.
Okay, now you have to find the b, the distance between a covertex and the center.
We don't know what A
That's
is.
why, I know, we don't know A yet either, we're gonna find A and B, okay? Here's the deal, we have to find the distance between the covertex and the center to find B. Your covertex, okay? Let's just choose the one that's 4, 4, okay? Choose the 4, 4 for the covertex, this one right here, 4, 4. We have to find the difference between that and the center, what was the center again?
4, 2.
4, 2, okay? So if I have 4, 4, and I have 4, 2, which one has a difference between it?
Y.
Y.
The y, which is what should happen because it should go under the,
The-
Y.
Yeah.
okay? So 4 minus 2 is
2.
2. And then this is b squared, so if my b equals 2, what does my b squared equal? 4. Okay? Now, we have a foci, which is a c, yes? I have to find the c now. Well, how do you think I'm gonna find the c?
You find out.
Find the difference between one of its points and the center. So let's take the point of 1, 2,
Oh, I see.
and let's take the center of 4, 2, yes?
So then that'd be 3.
So then it would be 3, correct? C is 3. Now, the reason I had to do it that way is because I need C and I need B to find
A.
A. And remember, this one is A squared minus B squared equals C squared. So you get 3 squared,
It's 5.
2 squared, A squared.
Pretty sure it's 5.
So a squared equals, 5, right? Nope, that's not 5.
Or 25.
No. This is 4. Negative, that should be -4 because this negative doesn't go with that square. You square 2 first. So -4, so add it to the other side, and what's 4 plus 9? 13. There's the equation of that one. Yes, which is why we're gonna.
Would you need a square root of 13?
Nope,
No,
because it is a
It
square.
is a square.
Okay, which is why we are going to spend a few days on this. Tomorrow and probably Monday as well.
We don't have to come with it.
Tuesday.
You don't have to go Tuesday.
Yes, we do.
Oh, shit.
Because that is the hardest one.